Welcome to the Double R Show, the podcast that features everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, directed and produced by Paul Robertson and hosted by the voice of Lincoln City, Roger Robertson.
And welcome to the Double R Show, Double R, along with son Paul. And today we'll have an interesting mix of different guests on board on the program.
Yeah, so we've got three guests, of course, here, as we typically do. Nancy Oksenholt's going to join us.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit about a foundation that she's intimately involved in.
Yeah, and something that's near and dear to her heart in the medicine world and helping people with the needs surrounding cancer. And then Jennifer Beckner is joining us, right, from Lincoln County. And then our last guest is going to be a featured speaker at a Pelican Brew Pub Arts and Sciences on Tap that Cascade Head Biosphere Collaborative is doing, and that's Conrad Gowell. And so he's from the Wild Fish Conservancy, and so he's going to be giving a talk on February 19th. So we'll learn a little about that and more right after these messages.
Add to your personal library today with a book from Bob's Beach Books in the Ocean Lake area of Lincoln City. I'm Diana Portwood, and books provide a world of discovery. From science to science fiction, read what you've been missing.
If you're looking for great early garden fresh produce, it's Kenny's IGA in the Bay Area of Lincoln City. 4 generations of Morgans caring for your every grocery need. All of your favorite beverages, a full deli, meat, produce, and of course, groceries.
Don't miss the Neil Diamond Legacy Concert February 28th at Chinook Winds. For tickets, go to ChinookWinds.com. The Neil Diamond Legacy Concert at Chinook Winds, where concerts are better at the beach.
On the phone line with us is Jennifer Beckner, and Jennifer is with Lincoln County, the SUD program for analysts for Lincoln County. That's a pretty heavy title there, Jennifer. What does that really mean?
So what I have done in the past is a lot of work with substance use disorder. I do a lot of grant writing and bringing resources into the community assessment, and tried to build a recovery community here in Lincoln County. And that's the main portion of my position. And many people know there have been a lot of changes throughout the county with our leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And with the changes, I inherited some housing grants. And so that's where my work expanded into this piece that we're going to be talking about today, that I do mainly a lot of grant management and grant writing for Lincoln County Health and Human Services.
Okay, housing grants. Are we talking about soliciting money for building projects? What are we talking about?
Yeah, so Lincoln County received approximately $9.7 million in an affordable housing grant that's run through the Oregon Community Housing Services, OHC Act at the state. And with that money, we are tasked to, first, our biggest priority is to try and get as many wildfire survivors that are still without homes into a home. And so we have 3 separate programs under these funds. One of them is the home ownership bucket. And we've gotten one family closed on her home and moved in. It's a fairly new project, Lincoln County Health and Human Services. We were the first ones in the state to actually finish one purchase. And so that was super exciting for us.
That's really going to be a lot of satisfaction to be able to get somebody that has been burned out into a home.
Oh, absolutely. And what was so wonderful about that first experience is that, this family had been living in an RV for, 5 years. It's been 5 years since the fires happened here in Lincoln County. And, a lot of people were displaced. And so it's a very satisfying experience. But I'll tell you what we learned through this project is, at first, we had 3 buckets. We were doing a homeownership bucket, and then we were doing a rental buckets. And what that was going to do is we had hoped to purchase or build manufactured homes that we could donate to the Lincoln County Housing Authority or another partner to run and offer wildfire survivors who don't make enough for home ownership, rental opportunities, to be in their own long-term rentals.
Sure. Okay.
But what we discovered is that most of the people that we have left that are survivors that are already working on home ownership or qualified didn't qualify for the lowest rents that could be offered through any community partners housing programs. We're talking about people we look at 30% of their total income I couldn't afford more than $600 a month in rent, and so it didn't pencil out for any of our community partners to take on the management of properties for that amount of money because of property taxes and staff and all of those things. So it just wasn't economically feasible for us. And so we also had a bucket called the GAP bucket. The GAP.
Mhm.
Yep, our GAP bucket. And that's kind of where this environmental review stuff is coming from. Our GAP bucket, we put out a request for proposals. I believe it was back in December. It might have been November. Yeah, it was about Thanksgiving time. And we had a committee that was appointed by the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners who reviewed applications. And these applications went out to community partners and developers. The RFP was about, what could they build here in Lincoln County with an emphasis on if they could supply units for around 60% of the area median income, which is approximately, $600 a month or less.
And the response was?
We had an overwhelming response.
Very good.
Wonderful proposals, yeah. And 2 projects were picked, and I'm not comfortable sharing the information publicly yet on which projects were picked because I didn't clear with county council yet what I can't say. However, we did pick the projects, and before we can allocate any money, we have to do this environmental review. This is a HUD requirement before we can expend any of these federal funds.
Now, for the individual that is listening to this program that is saying, how do I avail myself of these programs? Is there a track that they need to follow or what happens?
So, yes, absolutely. We have a wildfire navigator at Lincoln County Health and Human Services, and all of her information is located on our website. People can get in touch with Gabby if they are interested in a home ownership program, with the emphasis being on being a wildfire survivor, and they can't be above 80% of the area median income for home ownership.
Okay. So is there a timeline that these applications have to be in by, or is it, well, what's the status?
So Gabby will work with them to find out what kind of housing opportunities they qualify for. And then we have a list of programs that they can apply for. For instance, we have 2 federal programs that will work with our program. So people are eligible for applying for something called down payment assistance.
All right, Jennifer, we appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to help us understand the program that is underway, and we want people to be housed.
We do.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Our next guest is Nancy Oksenholt, and Nancy is with the Willamette Valley Cancer Foundation, among other activities. But that's the one we want to talk about today because you are one busy lady.
Yes, I am, and that's how I like it.
And,
yeah.
And you prove it every day. Now, the Willamette Valley Cancer Foundation, why would we be concerned about that here in Lincoln County?
Okay, so everybody that I talk to, everybody in the world knows somebody who has cancer. Mm-hmm. So when they approached me probably close to 8-10 years ago, if they could start up a foundation that would include Lincoln City or Lincoln County, and then they also added Yamhill County at the time, I said that'd be a great idea, and then I joined the board. Just this past year, Willamette Valley Cancer Foundation has given out over $155,000. And part of that, which is very interesting because most of it always went to housing, this past year, housing was beat out by grocery cards.
Really?
Yeah, and that's a sad state of affairs. They gave out $50,580 just in grocery cards.
Now, this is all money that was turned back into Lincoln, Yamhill, and Tillamook counties.
Correct. Housing alone was $49,516.
And I'm going to break it down so it's why Lincoln County is included in this. So Lincoln County was given over $60,000 to Lincoln County residents last year. Tillamook County received $2,700, and Yamhill County, which has the highest population, received $92,970. So we are getting quite a big piece of the pie for our families here. And it ranged anywhere. Lincoln City was given over $12,000, and to the lowest, Seal Rock was given $250. So all of Lincoln County is included.
So how does somebody avail themselves of the support from the Willamette Valley Cancer Foundation in Lincoln County?
I have forms at my office, but everything basically is done online, and it's info@wvcancerfoundation.org. You have to be in active cancer treatment, and you fill out the forms, and they'll see what they can help you with.
Now, is this the individual that is battling cancer, or is it a family member that can help them produce the forms? Or
No, the family member is usually the one that has all the information.
Okay, very good.
Right. So some of the things they help out with is housing, utilities, auto and transportation, grocery cards, gas cards, and healthcare supplies. So it's a wide range of items. And then you have a freak one that one of the patients needed a iPad that he could communicate with because he was deaf and couldn't hear. So it had closed caption on it, and we were able to provide that for him. So there's different needs needed by different clients.
That's a lot of money. Where does the money come from, Nancy?
Money comes from donations and grants. Lincoln City gave them a $10,000 grant this past year for a nonprofit. So they started and established in 2002. And basically from 2021 to present, they've given over between $100,000 to $159,000 every year.
So is it based upon how much money they raise, or is it based upon...
No.
Okay.
There's money in the coffers, and so the needs are met. 65% increase in patients served and 78% increase in dollars distributed since 2019.
Is that because cancer is more pervasive, or is it because people are finally finding out about the foundation?
Well, they're finding out about the foundation, plus people are living longer. People aren't afraid to talk about cancer anymore. If you remember back in the days in nursing, if you had cancer, you didn't talk about it back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. It was sort of a taboo subject. But now, it's out there. People have it. Your neighbor, your, family member.
Is it a specific cancer treatment, or is it any cancer that people can get help from?
You can get help for anything, basically, just as long as you're newly diagnosed and seeking treatment.
And seeking treatment.
Yes, and they have a yearly amount they're able to give, and then they also have a lifetime amount.
Speak to that again. What do you mean a yearly amount that the foundation
there's a foundation. There's a cap for yearly, and then we also have a cap for lifetime. Because a lot of these cancer patients will go through cancer and treatment and get better, and then they get cancer again. So we're able to go back and help them with a second amount of money if needed.
What gives you the most joy out of this?
I think the most joy I get is helping people and serving others. And when we have our golf tournament that's coming up, seeing the people from the community coming in and helping support such a great foundation.
Now, the golf tournament will be when and where?
The golf tournament is June 6th, Saturday, 2026, at Chinook Winds Casino Golf Resort. And that's where we've had it every year. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the 5th or 6th year.
Okay.
I have flyers if anybody needs them, and their sponsorship. So come out, have some fun. Registration is open now. It's $150 or $575 per team.
And there'll be a lot of prizes to be given out.
Correct.
Anytime the Chinook Winds Casino Resort is involved, it's going to be...
That's right.
Yeah. Nancy Oksenholt has been our guest, and again, we're talking about the Willamette Valley Cancer Foundation in Lincoln, Tillamook, Yamhill counties, helping people help each other. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm Josh Zantello with Zantello Law Group, and we are fortunate to have a number of attorneys in our office that specialize in a variety of law fields. Call our office and set up a free consultation. With our field of experts, you're never alone.
Northwest Septic Service is your one-stop shop for all your septic needs.
Northwest Septic Service offers pumping, maintenance, repair, and inspections with one call, 541-994-6977.
Buying or selling a home? Northwest Septic Service can inspect your sewer line or an entire septic system.
Old or failing septic system? Northwest Septic Service can rejuvenate most drain fields, saving you thousands of dollars. 541-994-6977.
Serving Lincoln, Tillamook, and Yamhill counties, Northwest Septic Service.
Wouldn't it be great to have all your insurance needs handled by one agency? This is Charlotte Lado with Farmers Insurance and the Insurance Store. Visit our office next to the Wildflower Grill in Lincoln City. Let us be your one stop for your personal, commercial, health, and Medicare insurance needs.
Where have all the salmon gone? Important question that will be tackled at the Pelican Brewery on February 19th. On the phone line with us is a wild fish conservancy expert. And Conrad, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Now, you have a background, obviously, in salmon. Where does this topic come from in your lineup?
Oh, man, ever since I was a little boy, I always just gravitated towards rivers. I was fortunate enough to take fisheries classes in high school. It launched me into a career in fisheries science where I studied salmon populations all the way up towards the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, throughout Washington and Oregon. And it's brought lots of interesting stories to me along the way.
The salmon, are we losing sight of the importance of salmon to our entire ecology?
You know, there's some good stories and some bad stories.
Okay. I'll take both.
There are some bright spots like the work we've done locally on the Oregon coast to help recover Oregon coast coho, which are moving towards being one of the first salmon that are potentially going to be removed from the endangered species list. There's still a lot more work to do yet there, in ways we could always improve, but they're moving in the right trajectory from historic lows in the 90s. But on the other hand, you have species like Chinook salmon, which have been going in the opposite direction in some of the same places. And so it leads you to the question, what's the difference between these species that live in the same place, and why are their trends so different?
Talk to me a little bit about fish habitat and what has happened to the habitat.
Yeah, so fish recovery is typically divided into 4 different areas: harvest, habitat, hydropower, and hatcheries. And habitat being the places that fish live have experienced harms, from logging operations to mining, water pollution, a whole host of different impacts to the places that salmon live. On the Oregon coast, we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to recover that salmon habitat. And that has yielded some progress and some amazing work with communities. But at other times, it can be undermined. If we take too many salmon in the ocean, then not enough come back to take advantage of that habitat, and you can end up shooting yourself in the foot.
When you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that has gone into what, research, development, restoration, or all of the above?
Mostly habitat restoration. Yeah, last count I added it up, it was over $115 million just for Oregon coast coho alone.
Wow. Did not realize that the investment that is being put back into bringing back this species that is critical to the entire coast.
Yeah, and just above Lincoln City, I was part of a project up on North Creek, it's a tributary of Drift Creek. They replaced a culvert that had blocked salmon there for over 50 years. That project alone cost a little more than $1 million to get those fish back into their historic habitats. What
are the type of projects have you been involved with the Cascade Head Biosphere Collaborative?
I've stayed in touch with the Biosphere and participated in their Welcome to Salmon Home event And then I've participated trying to get monitoring of juvenile salmon. And my time goes all the way back to the Salmon Drift Creek Watershed Council when they helped manage the biosphere. That was over a decade ago. So I grew up in the McMinnville area, but have been involved locally in the watersheds around Lincoln City for most of my life.
Okay, now you're going to be doing a presentation coming up here in Lincoln City at the Pelican Brewery. Tell us a little bit about your presentation there.
Yeah, so the presentation will kind of touch on a brief history of salmon across the world. The trends that we see along the Oregon coast are not unique, and there's been similar mistakes that have been made in other areas throughout the world. For instance, Atlantic salmon used to be all the way down into Spain. And some of those rivers, they've been trying to recover salmon for over half a century without a lot of luck. In places they have disappeared. But all throughout the East Coast, New York City used to have salmon swimming in the rivers that used to go through that area. And now we're seeing salmon blink out in certain watersheds along the West Coast, and one of the areas that the declines have been much more recent. And so I'll touch on a brief history of all of that, and then talk about an area that not many people have focused on, which is the ocean fisheries that intercept salmon up and down the Pacific coast, and how often we are harvesting salmon far away from their home rivers, which makes it very difficult to be able to protect the weak stocks while still harvesting the healthy stocks. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be introducing a new effort to bring communities together from California to Alaska, encouraging policymakers to let our salmon come home and being able to answer questions that local community members might have on that effort.
Where have all of the salmon gone? Important topic that will be tackled again at the Pelican Brewery, February 19th, 6 to 7. Conrad, we do appreciate you taking the time. And again, how much effort is being put into this restoration? Is there enough? Is there too little? Where are we at?
I would say there's always more that we can do. We've made some strides along the Oregon coast and are leading in a lot of ways in what is being done, but it's no time to let our laurels down. And I think it's time to look holistically and see what's working, and then also ask ourselves what's not working and figure out how to move forward.
Home-style cooking in a hometown atmosphere. Hi, I'm Adina from Zeller's Restaurant in Rose Lodge in Lincoln City. Join us daily for good fun and great food. You can even kick up your heels at Zeller's.
Jay White is without question the best Neil Diamond performer on the planet. And Saturday, February 28th, Chinook Winds presents one unforgettable night of all the hits during the Neil Diamond Legacy Concert. Tickets start at just $25 and are available at the Chinook Winds box office, 888 Main Act, or at ChinookWinds.com. Don't miss the Neil Diamond Legacy Concert, February 28th at Chinook Winds, where concerts are better at the beach.
So welcome back to the Double R Show. Some of the activities and events forthcoming at City Hall on Tuesday the 17th, 6 o'clock. We got a Planning Commission meeting. On Wednesday the 18th, the Parks and Rec Board meets at 2:30 in the afternoon. And then on Monday, February 23rd, 6 o'clock, City Council has their regular monthly meeting, or bi-monthly meeting, I guess I should say. And welcome on board to our new city manager. He is not new to the job. He was the interim city manager, now has been selected. We'll hopefully get him on the podcast shortly. Also, we have an opportunity to be involved with the Kiwanis Club, and just by writing a check for $40, and that $40 goes into a scholarship fund. But what you get for that is a flag put up in honor of you or someone else in your family. $40, all of the money goes to the Lincoln City Kiwanis Club Foundation to pay for scholarships for graduating seniors from Taft High School.
Go Taft. We like
that.
Go
Taft Tigers. Yeah. The Great Oregon Coast Garage Sale is coming up on April the 17th and 18th and the 19th. Happy treasure hunting. And this one started with my good buddy,
Mr. Joe Delavelle.
Mr. Joe Delavelle. And
yes.
Joe will be forever reminded of that, or we will forever remind you of that Joe Delabelle was in charge of getting that underway. He picked up the idea, as I understand it, someplace down in Arkansas. He was traveling. All of a sudden, he found this street of mile after mile after mile of garage sales. I'm surprised he even made it back here after going through all of those garage sales.
Yeah, he did like a deal, didn't he?
Yeah, he did love a deal. The interview that we had, we need to remind people that they can attend the seminar and where the seminar is going to be.
Yeah, for the Where Have All the Salmon Gone? Yeah, so it's going to be at the Pelican Brew Pub. You need to RSVP, and you can do that at cascadehead.org. It's just a small, facility there upstairs at the Pelican. And only about 40 folks can be in that space. So right now we're about half full. So get online, cascadehead.org, and RSVP for that evening at the Pelican. Again, February 19th, 6 to 7:30.
And Conrad is a well-spoken individual that really does know where have all the salmon gone.
Yeah. I mean, I've known Conrad a long time. He's been a great resource here and beyond. So thanks for his expertise to bring it back here and introducing some, concepts around the restoration. We talked about habitat. We talked about the 4-H's habitat. Harvest in this case. This would be the other H. Hydropower was the other H, one of the other H's. And the last one, I always kind of lose track of them. I start thinking like harvest, hatcheries. That's the other one that we don't talk about much. And so that's the other H of the 4 H's.
Need to have Conrad back on again and talk about hatcheries and what they do or don't do for the restoration of the salmon.
Yeah, it'd be good talk.
Good talk. Anything else your side of the table?
Yeah, we've got another event that you may or may not have heard of yet. We talked maybe earlier, but another Gyotaku Masterclass coming up on March 14th. This is limited to 15 participants, so I think, we get a few people in there and all of a sudden it fills up. So March 14th, so while you're registering for the event with Conrad, you can get online, cascadehead.org, and register for that too.
And that is a what?
It's a masterclass in teaching the art form of Gyotaku. That's fish printing, fish rubbing.
Fish printing, right.
Yeah, it's an exceptional art form and easy to learn for all ages, beginners all the way to experts. This class will be for everybody in between.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that will do to the doings on the Double R Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, share so you, your family, and friends around the world and across the street can join us on the Double R Show. For son Paul, Jana, I'm Double R. Have yourself a happy day.
You've been listening to The Double R Show. Join Roger and Paul Robertson as they explore everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, produced by Always Productions and hosted by Roger Robertson. Have a story? Email contact@alwaysproductions.com or call 458-201-3039. For The Double R Show, I'm Jana Grawn.